President-elect Trump announced he's nominating longtime Exxon CEO Rex Tillerson to be his Secretary of State. Nominating someone with no government experience to be the nation's top diplomat offended many in Washington, a city where government experience is valued for its own sake and considered far more important than, say, succeeding at something or being wise or impressive.
I think it's a good choice. It's certainly different and shakes things up.
He's already stated he likes Putin better than he likes Obama, so it's obvious he likes Russia, and that's fairly concerning to the world.
He's someone who is not ideological, which frankly right now in our foreign policy I think is really important.
I'm concerned about his relationship with Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is a thug, a murderer, a KGB guy who only wants to restore the Russian Empire.
He's a deal maker. Sure. And
Tillerson.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his new Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, has major and professional, personal relationships in Russia.
At the end of the day, it's putting America first, and Donald Trump and Rex Tillerson had a connection on that issue.
Joining me now from Trump Tower, Kellyanne Fitzpatrick, Trump's senior transition advisor. Kellyanne Conway, I'm so sorry. Thanks a lot for joining us, Kellyanne.
15 years I've been married, Tucker, but that means we go way back. That's all right, darling.
It does. It's great to see you. So I want to ask you before anything, you just heard John say something you already know, which is that Congressman Ryan Zinke will be the Interior Secretary. It was announced in the press anyway 4 days ago that Cathy McMorris Rodgers, the Congresswoman, was going to get that job. People were lining up to replace her. The transition didn't bat down those reports. What happened?
Well, today the president-elect offered the spot to Congressman Zinke. It was a very competitive process, had wonderful candidates. So yesterday, Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers came back to the Tower. She's the highest-ranking woman in the Congress, has given birth 3 times in Congress, a record. You also had Congressman Raul Labrador. There were other people who interviewed for the position, but this is a decision that the president-elect and the vice president-elect make as they form their cabinet. Sometimes you have many talented people vying for one particular spot, and that was the case here.
So what was today, obviously, the story that got the most press was Kanye West showing up. I'm sure you've been talking about it all day. What was that about?
Well, he's glad he's gone blonde because we have more fun, apparently. But no, listen, Kanye West, as I understand it, had called Mr. Trump or called his office and requested a meeting. The meeting was brief, but it was spirited. I know they both enjoyed it. They came down to Trump Tower afterwards to the lobby and took a picture and maybe made a brief comment. And Mr. West and the president-elect have known each other for a while. I know Kanye West very recently said he did not vote in this election, but had he voted, his vote would have been for Donald Trump. I know that shocks the conscience of many people who say they're free thinkers, Tucker, but like to tell everybody how they should vote, especially if they're in music or they're of a certain race or a certain money caste, if you will. But they had a good conversation. I mean, Donald Trump meets with many people in a given day, and today was no different. I think between yesterday and today, it was just a whirlwind of activity here in Trump Tower. He and the Vice President-elect Mike Pence have met with probably 90 men and women outside of performers who, you know, will give advice and counsel for this next government, who all love America, and most of whom won't be in the cabinet.
So I assume that all of this is taking place in public right on Fifth Avenue. Obviously, the president-elect could call any of these people, but he's having them in. So each one sends a message that the rest of us can kind of decode or interpret. And so today you had Omarosa, Kanye West, Bill Gates, Senator Santorum, Wilbur Ross, Mark Burnett. It's like a Vanity Fair Oscar party. What's the message that meeting with this diverse a group of people sends, or that you seek to send with meetings like this?
Well, this is Donald Trump. He's a man who's lived a very full life, has many friends and colleagues across many different industries. You know, before he became president of the United States, Tucker, he was already the biggest man in the room. Large-in-life personalities, you know, wildly successful, brilliant businessman, and someone who has been able to cross-pollinate across many different industries and create many different friendships. Yesterday also and today he had Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia. He had the aforementioned members of Congress. We also had, obviously, there were other senators and governors who stopped by. Right. Governor Perry stopped by and is now the Secretary of Energy nominee. So it'd be one thing to just be hosting people and having a showcase of men and women, but that's not what this is. He's actually forming his cabinet, a tremendously conservative and sharp cabinet of qualified, capable men and women from diverse backgrounds. He's doing that in record time, which is a very Donald Trump thing, right? When he opened up the old post office last month, he called it, or 2 months ago, he called it on budget, under budget, and on schedule. That's also the way we look at his cabinet selections, which are, really taking some people by surprise. How differently he's looked at some of these positions, like the Secretary of State position, 4th highest ranking individual in our nation's government. Rex Tillerson is a very Trumpian pick. The President-elect told me just today that when he met Rex Tillerson, they clicked immediately. I'm not surprised. They're both very successful, accomplished people who employ tens of thousands of individuals, and that he just felt he was in a very special league, somebody who can negotiate deals, somebody who already has relationships across the globe, and somebody, frankly, who's told Vladimir Putin no.
So Senator Manchin was in the running, apparently, or he was in the running, for Energy Secretary, and you just said that has absolutely gone to Governor Perry. What would Mr. Trump be talking to Senator Manchin about? What position?
Well, Senator Manchin has been very helpful and welcoming to President-elect Trump since he took office, I think since he was elected 5 weeks ago tonight, who's counting, that he's not in the Democratic orthodoxy, as we know, Tucker. Senator Manchin is somebody who votes his conscience, is willing to break ranks with his party when he believes it is the right thing to do, and the right thing to do for the people of West Virginia, to whom he is beholden. And we think we can rely upon him as a critical vote for some of these common sense reforms that the President-elect has said he will put forward in the first 100 days. Hopefully we can rely upon him for infrastructure, for tax reform, for repealing and replacing Obamacare, so that people in West Virginia and all across the country can buy their health care across state lines the way they buy their auto insurance and many other goods and services.
I bet you'll be able to. Kellyanne Conway, great to see you. Thanks.
Thank you, Tucker. Congratulations on the show.
Thanks a lot.